Can you turn off his light? Turn off
on the outside.
Okay, I think it is.
Turn off.
You want him right behind you, not over here.
Yeah, I mean, just circle the wagons. Well, maybe it's wrong word.
I want to be by his dad. And I think we're not there.
Exactly.
My chauffeur said to turn off the phone.
Phones are on.
Yeah.
Dámelo, yo lo tiro para afuera de la ventana.
Okay. Carlito, you want a whiteout?
Just lower the sound. Yeah, yo just up it.
Y Dios
Es diferente el mío.
Yeah?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank the media for coming
Sorry.
to such an important news conference. Primero de todo, quiero darle las gracias a la prensa por atender a esta conferencia, rueda de prensa, que es muy importante porque necesitamos el apoyo del público en lo que vamos a demandar, que es justicia. Yesterday's decision was horrible. I am saddened for the family because after their son, Nicolas Chavez, was assassinated, I don't use harsh words in many of my news conferences, but we call a space a space. The grand jury was the first disappointment for the family and for the community at large that demand and expect justice. There are other elements that have not been brought into light, and that's the Houston Police Union, which is rejoicing over what they claim is a victory. And my message to the union officials is you ought to be ashamed of yourself if you're in leadership, because it's your job to clean up the misconduct, injustice that occur within the rank and the top. This is not to say that we support police. We have some wonderful men and women that through my long career in civil rights, we have honored them during Police Week. We will continue to do that. But right now, we got to deal with the issue on hand. This indefensible and senseless shooting of a young man that occurred on April 21st, 2020, when the police responded to a call that saying that a man was possibly trying to commit suicide. Some people talk about training, de-escalation, all kinds of things. But apparently, that didn't take place. And then to top it off, the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice was very instrumental in, with Senator Whitmire and other legislators, in changing the grand jury when it was known as the Pit of Pal. I am disappointed. First of all, I'm appreciative of Mayor Turner's that many times we have come to him to ask for different issues, and he has responded greatly. But when we ask for the coalition and other community members to serve in the union contract, we didn't get an answer. So folks, let me tell you, we all have a responsibility to be sensitive, as human as possible, and to try to correct the injustice in this county, city, and state, and everywhere else. The question is, where do you go from here? We go to the federal level. In your hand, you have a letter dated all the way to September 2021 to U.S. Attorney asking him, after the grand jury failed to act accordingly, for a complete investigation on this case under color of law. Yesterday I spent time on the phone with several congressional elected officials, asking them to assist us in getting the Attorney General's attention. And we want to schedule some meetings for the family and members of the community with the Attorney General. It's time that elected officials, appointed officials, start getting serious about cases like the Nicholas Chavez death. I want to say that the coalition has created a Victims' Rights Committee. That's how we were able and instrumental in the changing of the grand jury when we went to the legislation to plead our case. We played our case with victims that had gone through these trials and tribulations. Today, we have 2 new members that have joined the coalition, which is Mr. Chavez and Janie Torres. Janie Torres is a civil rights advocate that ever since her brother death has been very instrumental in making change. I will have just a short, brief statement after the speakers, and I call on Mr. Chavez because many of you wanted to talk to him yesterday when y'all were calling, and you have him here to more or less speak for himself. Mr. Chavez.
Good morning. First off, this one's for you, sir. We're still working it. I'm going to turn the tides a little bit. Would you be me, stand in this location and talk about your son that was murdered by HPD? If you all have reviewed the case and you see that my son was down on his knees, shot 24 times, 29 times total, The first 5 is what knocked him down. Senseless 24 more bullets on the last 10 seconds of his life. Senseless. No reason. He was already down. So at what point does justice take over and allow police officers, these 4, it's the only ones I'm talking about, in actuality there's 5, to get their jobs back and back pay? If any of us did our job incorrectly, we would be fired. It's senseless to have them back in uniform doing a job that they failed at in the first place. It's hard to stand here as a parent and watch what transpired that day, and we're still here 2 years later trying to battle for justice that should have been taken care of by the grand jury. I'm thankful for the police chiefs that did what they did when they were supposed to. Take care of their officers that failed and hide behind policy and lack of training in a crisis. So 2 years, we're still here. Still searching for justice. And it's been a failure the whole time. Failure to the DA's office. Failure to the grand jury to indict. And a failure to allow these police officers to have their job back. Specifically the 4. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Chávez, en español, ¿nos puede decir cuál es su reacción a esta decisión de reinstalar en su puesto al sargento y a los 3 oficiales?
Disculpa, señor, pero esto duele mucho. Y para decir unas cosas así de qué pasó mi reacción pasó 2 años. Ahorita estamos buscando justicia para este niño que debe estar aquí con nosotros. Esa es mi reacción.
¿Cree que la decisión original del jefe Acevedo fue la correcta de despedirlos, suspenderlos?
Aunque sea cualquier police chief que es, van a tener la misma reacción. Porque cuando veas el video de ese tiempo, es una injusticia que nos hicieron. Esos 10 segundos al fin no deben de ser así.
¿Y esta vida, cómo le cambió a usted? ¿Qué desea en este caso ahora?
¿Cómo me ha cambiado? Si soy un padre sin un hijo, me ha cambiado todo. ¿Tienes otra pregunta, señor?
Gracias, señor Chávez.
Okay, gracias a usted.
Jane.
Good morning, and thank y'all for being here. My name is Jadine Torres. I am the sister of Jose Campos Torres. I'm here today in support of the Chavez family for their loved one, Nicholas Chavez. My family and I are deeply, deeply saddened of the decision that was handed down yesterday. We are deeply saddened. I am deeply disgusted. I am deeply disgusted on the decision that was handed down yesterday. This brings back so many memories. So many memories of 1977. Has anything changed? People, ask yourself, has anything changed? If things would have changed, I would not be standing here today. once again, the justice system and everyone else in it has failed another family. They have failed Nicolas Chavez. The justice system has failed another family again. And the senseless assassination of him that the world, not just a few of us, the world witnessed. The world witnessed this assassination. And they are let go free. Ask yourselves, people, are we safe? Are we safe? Ask yourself. Thank you.
Ginny, ¿tú crees que han cambiado las cosas desde 1977 a la fecha con la policía de Houston?
No, porque siempre me preguntan eso. Siempre me preguntan eso. Cuando algo pasa, siempre me preguntan eso. Y yo siempre, my answer is, siempre va a ser no. Hasta que yo miro que las familias están ganando justicia. Y no tenemos que estar acá enfrente peleando o en las calles peleando, protesting y todo. Es cuando se han cambiado las cosas. Hasta este tiempo, hasta hoy, no se han cambiado las cosas.
Say the question.
Your question is, if I think, your question to me, right? If I think things have changed, I am always asked that.
Since 1977.
Since 1977, I'm always asked that. My answer is always no. So long as I still keep seeing cases in this manner of my brothers, in the Chavez family's manner, as long as I keep seeing cases in this manner, my answer will always be no. Justice was never served for my brother, and I'm still here today fighting. So many other families, my answer will always be no until I see otherwise. Until I see that if family gets justice and without having to take to the streets. Why? Why do we have to take to the streets? Why? Why?
Ginny, mi última pregunta, ¿qué sintió usted cuando se enteró que estos oficiales les iban a devolver su trabajo después de que la comisión decidió que podían regresar?
Estoy mala de eso. I am sick. My heart is broken. I'm sick. My heart is broken. My heart is crushed. I'm back in 1977. The memories, the mind, seeing my mother up there fighting for her son. I'm sick. His question was, what did I feel yesterday when I heard the decision? My answer is that I am sick, my heart is broken, I am crushed. I was forced back into 1977. Although I've never left it, this is what keeps me fighting. This is what keeps me fighting for other families. I had a call from my mom this morning. She's crushed. She's extremely saddened of the decision. Are we safe? Are we safe? This is a green light for them to do this because they know they will be covered. Thank you.
Let me ask, if you please, hold your questions. We'll be here all as long as you have them, so I can finish the presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you, Carlito. Zero.
Thank you, John. Nicolas Chavez was murdered. And we say we have a government, and I believe in it. We do have a government of the people, by the people, for the people, inscribed in our Constitution. But our elected officials are the mayor, the city council, the county judge, commissioner's court, the district attorney, and the state judges. We don't elect those who run that union. We don't select the police chief. So I rest on the rights that are prescribed in our Constitution, which have completely been obliterated in this last decision. And murder has no statute of limitations. And those who committed this murder will be put through the Constitution of the United States, not a local policy, not a local police union. And I'm not going to be as nice as my dear friend Johnny. I'm going to call a spade a spade. The mayor might as well give that title to the president of the police union. City council, 16 of you, might as well give that position to the members of the police union, because they're the ones who are running this city. And I'm here simply as a father and grandfather. And we're being attacked. My household, the safety of my children and grandchildren are being attacked. Not only Hispanics. That applies to every one of us in this community. And if you want to sit idle and watch it as spectators, we can. And that's the community that we're going to live in. But I think the majority of us, I know for a fact, we're Americans, proud of our Constitution. Our Constitution, those that are carrying out the Constitution are failing us, and we need to make a change. And we're going up to the U.S. Attorney. We're going to the main attorney for the entire United States, and that's what Johnny's letter is addressed to, Greater Houston Coalition for Justice. In 1977, same thing happened. There was a state verdict, and it was at that time U.S. Attorney Tony Canales and Lou Locker, Ruben Bonilla. They went up to D.C. and we got a special prosecutor. I just want to put people on notice. This thing is not over. Murder is murder, and murder has consequences. Thank you so much.
Si nos puede repetir en español la última frase, por favor.
Go ahead.
La última frase.
Sí, referente a que este no es el final.
Es que cuando matan a un ser humano, eso tiene sus consecuencias. Y no puedes matar a un ser humano como que si fueras matado a un perro.
The decision that was made yesterday to reinstate the killer cops is a travesty of justice. It shows a complete failure of the system to address issues of justice, especially amongst the Hispanic community. The Hispanic community is heartbroken. We're angry, we're outraged that there is no justice for us. Where's the outrage like when George Floyd was murdered? Where is the outrage here, where the killer cops executed Mr. Chavez execution style? They murdered him execution style. And the last police officer called it correctly. He said that they violated policy. There was no reason for them to shoot since that taser was totally spent. There was no danger here, and that's why he fired them. But now there's a total reversal. They're going to get their job back. They're going to get back pay, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and so in a way they're being they're being promoted. Really, I mean, there's no justice when when something like that happens, and we're totally outraged. A couple of days ago, the mayor concluded contract negotiations with the police union, and it was not transparent. They held it behind closed doors. Why? To continue the injustice that is continuing, that has been in effect for many, many years. So any expectation of justice is not there. And here the system failed Nicolas Chavez. The DA failed him, and the mayor failed him big time. So we're not happy at all. Thank you.
Español, por favor.
En español.
Por favor.
La decisión que emitieron ayer fue una total travestía de justicia, en el que decidieron darle el trabajo para atrás a los policías asesinos que mataron a Nicolas Chávez, como que lo estaban ejecutando. Estaba de rodillas, ya lo habían incapacitado, le habían dado balazos antes. Él ya no era peligro. Es lo que concluyó el ex jefe Acevedo, que no había razón por la cual lo balearan todas esas veces como ejecución. Por eso los despidió. Y ahora de que los reintegraron, les dieron sus posiciones para atrás y luego les van a pagar el pago retrasado, van a ser 100 miles de dólares. Es una travestía total. Y eso indica que no hay justicia para los hispanos. ¿Dónde está el coraje? ¿Dónde está la gente en las calles? Como cuando mataron a George Floyd. No lo hay para nosotros. Y la cosa, estamos cansados, porque esto va a seguir. El mayor recientemente concluyó negociaciones con la Unión de Policías, donde hicieron negociaciones, pero no estaba abierto al público. O sea que nosotros no sabíamos lo que está incluido en ese contrato. O sea que eso le garantía muchas condiciones a los policías, y eso permite que sigan matando a nuestra gente sin repercusiones, que no hay justicia absoluta. Y la comunidad hispana está bien enojado. También falló la oficina del District Attorney, y así varias oficinas nos están fallando. Y ya estamos cansados, los hispanos están cansados. Gracias.
My name is Stephen Flores, born and raised in Houston. What I want to say is that we're not here to say and condemn all law enforcement. We believe, as a group, that they should be supported, and the majority, 90+% of them, are not the police officers that have to be watched or disciplined. They actually do their jobs and do it in mind of the people that they have been hired to protect. We're not asking for them to be defunded or none of those things. We need law enforcement, but we also need justice. I've been here for living in Houston now since I was born in 54, and I want to be able to see the day that we can come together and say, there wasn't one more this year. Not that here we go again, there's one more of us that was murdered by someone with a badge. Because it is happening. And to deny that it's not happening, is like a drunk that refuses to deny that he is a drunk, or people that drive while drinking. So we have to admit, and the police departments and the sheriff's departments and all those departments have to admit that there are some bad apples out there. And they need to shed themselves of those people, or get them help or something, because we can't have them out there. Put them in inside offices. Not sure what the answer is. But I want to be here on the day where we can say, this isn't happening anymore. Thank you.
¿Habla español, señor?
No.
I'd like to introduce one of our newest members, and we have a list of people who want to join the coalition organization-wise. And I'm going to let her, I think she's a brilliant attorney. I'm going to let her to introduce herself so she can feel at home.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lema Barazzi, and I have been a trial attorney for 16 years. I'm also a civil rights advocate. I'm here on behalf of the Texas Progressive Executive Council, and we stand in unity with everyone here, especially the Chavez family, in demanding accountability. Our society shouldn't be judged by the way that we treat our wealthiest or our most powerful citizens. Rather, society should be judged by the way that we treat our most vulnerable citizens. The tragedy that has occurred here is a failure on several fronts. We have failed Mr. Chavez, we have failed his family, and we have failed ourselves. We have failed Mr. Chavez by failing to accommodate and to provide mental health services to him. We have failed Mr. Chavez by riddling his body with bullets at his most vulnerable time. When he was most in need of help, we denied him that help. And we failed Mr. Chavez yet again by failing to hold those who murdered him accountable. We will never progress as a society. We will never progress to our fullest potential until we treat our most vulnerable citizens the same as we treat our wealthiest and our most powerful. I urge everyone to not rest until we have accountability. Because what happened to Mr. Chavez has happened in the past, and it will certainly continue to happen in the future until these kinds of acts and the people who committed them are held accountable. Thank you.
This concludes our presentation, but we're open for questions. There's outrage in the community. Unfortunately, many of the people that are outraged don't have the luxury to come before cameras and to speak out in a manner that has a resounding rejection to what happened yesterday. I'm not going to repeat what some of the members of the coalition have felt for the longest, but it's about time that elected officials, irregardless of who, start listening, because the disservice that these communities are suffering, we cannot wait anymore for justice. I am proud that we were able to change some of the aspects of the grand jury, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Queremos darle las gracias a los medios de comunicación y queremos decir que hay mucha rabia en la comunidad, todas las comunidades, y que ya basta, y que ya es tiempo que los oficiales que sean elegidos hagan caso a los problemas de la gente. Y si no, el público que dice, yo no voto porque no cambian las cosas, necesitan que oír el mensaje. El voto es lo que cuenta. I say again, for those people that don't vote, it does make a difference. You, the voters, and it's government by the people, for the people. The elections for mayors are coming, and you can rest assured these issues are on the table. We cannot have a police union or any other dictate to the community what our rights are and that we should be intimidated if we speak up. That's what's happening in Ukraine and in Russia. This is America, and we're all entitled to our rights. If you have any questions, we're open. Ask anyone that just called a name or whatever, we'll be glad
Mr.
to
Chavez,
answer.
can we have you step up?
Huh?
What?
Chavez.
Go ahead, sir.
Can you tell me what do you think changed from the time that initially this occurred, when the mayor and the police chief said they couldn't condone this, that this is no way this is acceptable,
So you're
to
asking me
now?
a question about what changed between
What do you think changed?
between then and now,
Yes.
and why they got their jobs back?
Yes, yes.
You know, in all honesty, we have no idea. We found out yesterday that there was a forum in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the forum was at 8:30 to announce that they would be receiving their jobs back. At no time were we ever brought in to even have a say or a presence of what transpired. So we didn't find out until you guys found out yesterday as well. So what changed in between that time frame? I have no idea. I have no idea where the failure took place, where the injustice took place. Because the fact of the matter is, my son is not here.
Do you feel like somebody owes you an explanation, and if so, who?
Excuse me. You know, an explanation is something that we all look for as a finality, right? This will never be final. It'll be an ongoing forever. As you can see, from 1977, we're still here, looking for answers. But until, like you said, the accountability it takes place, it may change.
Were you caught off guard with this?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, to know at 10:30 in the morning after the forum took place yesterday, it's an outrage. To not even be visible or to know what is transpiring, you know, in this case, I mean, it rocked me to my core. I mean, you know, I'm a father of 4 sons. You know, I have family I have to answer for. And to not know what transpired with those 4 officers is an outrage for me. Brings back every memory that I have of the injustice that happened on that day in April 2020. I mean, we're talking about a video that's 45 minutes long on a body cam. Has no weapon other than a rebar. Down on his knees, reaching for a taser that's spent. When he grabs the taser, they shoot 24 times because they feared for their life. I'm sorry. You feared for your life from a man that's on his knees.
¿Podría decir eso en español, señor Chávez?
Está un poquito difícil, pero la injusticia que me hicieron a mi hijo y platicando de los body cam videos, 45 minutos de body cam videos sin una pistola, sin nada de molestar a la policía, y le echaron 25 balazos al fin, o 24, perdóname. Es una injusticia que un padre nunca se puede finalizar.